years, 1959 to 1975, 58,000 of our bravest, most of them 19, 20, 21-year-olds, died in a country 10,000 miles away. A man who lost both of his legs from California named Herman Woods was at the opening of the Vietnam Wall. He was so moved by it that he came back to California, met with his assemblyman, and talked about a bill, just like we did. He said, we need to do something to honor the California veterans who died in Vietnam. And his assemblyman thought it was a great idea. He said, give me some facts I can put on this bill. This is what Herman found out. One out of every 10 soldiers that fought in Vietnam was from the state of California. Students, that's staggering. We have 50 states, but 1 out of every 10 was from California. We also lost 1/10 of all the soldiers that died. Over 5,700 Californians died fighting in Vietnam. Also, we had more prisoner of war captured prisoners from California. And believe me, in the war of Vietnam, if you were a captured prisoner, you were treated terribly. It was horrible. And his assemblyman said, you know what, Herman, that's really great information. So he wrote up the bill. It passed the Senate, passed the Assembly, the governor signed it. 1984, this Vietnam memorial was put up. I'm going to describe it to you. Around the memorial are all of the 5,700 plus soldiers who died in Vietnam from California. They're not listed chronologically like they are in the wall. In other words, by when they died. They're listed by the city they came from. And the cities are in alphabetical order, from like Alhambra to whatever city that has a Z or a Y, Eureka, maybe, and they're listed that way. When you walk into the memorial, you're going to see 5 statues. The statue in the middle is probably the most poignant. It's a 19-year-old soldier sitting down with an M16 rifle, blank look on his face, and he has an invitation card to a birthday party that he won't be able to attend because he's 10,000 miles away. On the left, you'll see a nurse taking care of a soldier. Now, we don't know if that soldier lives or dies, but we know that if he does pass away, he's not alone. She's taking care of him. On the right, you'll see a man sitting on a bench with, again, a blank look on his face and an empty bowl next to him. He represents the prisoner of war captured during the Vietnam War from California. And then in the back of the memorial are statues of soldiers fighting together, kind of showing the brotherhood of Vietnam, how they fought for each other, they died for each other, they lived for each other. That's not why I talk to you when I'm over here, though, and I don't talk to you from there. When I first started doing these tours, there was a gentleman who's passed away, and his name, I called him Mr. Wilson. He used to sit on that bench, African-American gentleman. And when I first started doing these tours, he came up to me to shake my hand. And I said, I should be shaking yours. Thank you so much. And he goes, no, I want to shake yours. And I said, okay, thank you. He said he not only heard my speech, but this is why he wanted to shake my hand. He said, I can tell the students that have been prepared for this memorial before they get here, because on the ground, before you get into the memorial, there's a map of South Vietnam. You can't miss it. You can see it from here. To honor the names of the soldiers on that wall, you walk around the map. Never step on that map. And he told me he can tell the groups that have been prepared before they come in. He said groups that just walk on that map. He said, I don't get mad at them. I get mad at their leader for not telling them what this represents. One more thing, and I'm going to let you go in there. All of the names right behind them have a white star, but there's 81 of them. The star color has been darkened a little bit through the years, but they were originally yellow stars. When I was growing up, my mother told me that the most horrible thing a parent could ever do was to have to bury their child. It's just not the way it's supposed to be. the child is supposed to bury the parent. And I grew up thinking that was the most horrible thing a parent could ever live with, until I heard about the Vietnam War. And even my mother would agree, there's one thing worse. 81 names on that wall are still missing in action after over 40 years. Can you imagine if a parent is still alive and to this day has no idea if his son or daughter either died or is still alive in Vietnam? That would be even worse. There's 81 of them on that wall. There is a restaurant in Baker, California, on your way to Las Vegas. It's the one with the highest thermometer in the world. It's a restaurant in Baker. And there's a table in the corner of that restaurant with a reserved sign on it. It is reserved for the officer from Baker, California, who to this day has never returned from Vietnam. To this day, they say if he ever returns, he has an open invitation to this restaurant. Still reserved after all these years. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes. Go ahead and take a look.